Hello everyone, in this video we are going to build the Hi Android Developers app. So in this video we are going to cover the basics of Java programming by building a simple Android application. So let's go ahead and let's see how it is done. So go ahead and open your Android Studio. So next, you can see that the version of my Android Studio is version 3.3 Canary 8. So I'm gonna start a new Android Studio project. And then here, first we need to specify the template, the activity that we want to use. So I'm gonna choose empty activity and then click on next. So if you are using the official Android Studio, first it might ask you to enter the name and some of the informations. But because I'm using the Android Studio 3.3 Canary 8, this is how a project is created in this specific version of Android Studio. Next, I am going to specify the name. So I need to specify the name is going to be Hi Android Developers, and then here the package name is specified for us. Here we have the location of our project. If you want to, you can change the location, but always make sure that the name of your project folder is specified. So this is the same as the name of the project that I specified here. The language here, it is Java, and the minimum API level is going to be API 16. So here it says include navigation controller. So check this checkbox here, and you don't have to check this include instant apps support. Just click on finish. So now my project is created. So here we have a new dialog that says experimental Gradle sync feature. So it says for faster sync times, Android Studio can be configured to only sync the active variant. Enable this experimental feature now. So I'm going to click on yes. Next, we have this tip of the day. So I'm not going to see this tip of the day every time that I run the Android Studio. So I'm going to uncheck this checkbox and then click on close. So here at the bottom, you can see that the Gradle build is running. So I should wait a little bit here so that everything is set up and configured for us. So here my project is created and everything is ready. So first, let me talk about this file that is created here. It says mobile underline navigation.xml. So remember when we were creating the project, I checked the navigation controller checkbox. So this navigation controller is a new feature of Android Studio, and this is a very great feature. And for now, we don't want to do anything with this one, but I'll talk a lot about this feature later. So let's for now just close this XML file and let's focus on Android app development. Or in other words, let's focus on learning Java. First, let's go ahead and open the main activity.java file. Double click on this tab in order to make this area wider. So inside this file, at the top of the file, so you already know about the package. So this is the package, the name of the package that we specified for our project, com.example.hi Android developers. The package name is in reverse domain. Next, we have the import statements. So the libraries, the classes, or the features that our file needs to use, all of them will be imported at the top of the file. So for example, we are going to use the app compat activity, we need to import it. Or if we are going to use the android.os.bundle, we need to import it. So you can see these two lines of code here. And then we have something else. We have the public. So public is an access modifier in Java, and it determines that this class, this file, can be accessed from anywhere inside our project. So it is public, and any other classes inside our project can use it. Next, we have the class keyword. So what is a class? A class is just a blueprint or a template that is going to show us how to create objects. So for example, Imagine that I want to create car objects. I want to create, for example, a Mercedes Benz. How I am going to build it? First, I need a blueprint. So after the ending curly brace of this main activity class, I am going to create another class. I'm going to type in here class. And then, because I want to create car objects, I need to create a class and name it as car. So then I just need to open and close this class by using an opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace. So here we have a car class. So what are the attributes of a car? So for example, a car has 4 wheels. I need to specify that here. Or for example, a car has a braking system and lots of other components. All of those components, all of those features of the car must be specified inside the car class, so that later when we want to create an object out of this car class, there would be no problem. So the car class is a blueprint. So what happens if I want to create, for example, a lion objects? So in that case, we need to create a class and name it as lion, and then open and close it by using these curly braces. So next, we need to specify the attributes, the behaviors of a lion. For example, a lion can run, a lion can attack, a lion has, for example, 2 hands and 2 legs, or for example, a lion can eat other animals. All of those behaviors and attributes of a lion object should be specified inside the lion class, because the class lion is a blueprint that is going to show us how to create lion objects. And also, for example, I want to create bird objects. So I need to create a class and name it as bird. And then again, we need to specify the attributes of a bird. So hopefully by now you have an idea that what a class is. So let me delete all of these classes that I created here. So now that we understand what a class is, we have the name of the class. For example, we have a car class, lion class, bird class. So this specific class is called main activity. And then here we have the extends keyword. So I will talk more about this later. This is about the inheritance, and this main activity is inheriting all of the features and behaviors of another class that is called AppCompat activity. So for now, forget about or ignore the extends and this AppCompat activity. Here, a class should have a starting point and an ending point. So a class must start and then end. How do we start a class? By using a starting curly brace. And then in order to close a class, we use an ending curly brace. So inside this class, we have something called a method. So what is a method? A method is just a chunk of code that does something or returns something. So first, here you can see that this specific method, we have an access modifier like public, but this one is protected. Protected means that this method is inherited from another class. So in this case, it would be AppCompat activity. And protected access modifier is going to allow only the subclasses or the classes that have inheritance relationships between each other to use that method. I will talk more about this protected later when we want to learn about the inheritance concept in Java. And also this override keyword, this @ override keyword, is specifying that this method, this chunk of code that does something, is actually inherited from the superclass or another class. And here we are redefining its implementations. We are specifying another implementation for this method. So I will talk more about this keyword later. And then we have the void keyword. So void means that our method or this chunk of code that does something is not going to return anything. So it is void. In this case, we say that the return type of this method is void. So next we have the name of the method. So the name of the method, you can see it is using the camel case convention. So the first word starts with a lowercase letter, and the next words after this first word starts with a capital case letter. So this is the name onCreate. And here let me tell you that function and method, both of them are the same. So for example, we could say the onCreate function instead of onCreate method. So sometimes you may hear function or method. Just know that they are the same. They are just a chunk of code that does something. Next, we have this piece of code, a pair of parentheses after the method name. And then inside the parentheses, we have something called a parameter. So here you can see that first we need to specify the parameter and then the name of the parameter. So when we specify a parameter for a method, this means that this method here is going to accept an argument, or we need to pass some values to this method. So what is the difference between parameter and argument? So parameter is when we are, for example, defining some values to pass. So for example, here we are defining that this onCreate method is going to accept a value of type bundle, and here we just specified a name for this value. So we said saved instance state. Okay, so what is the argument? The argument is the actual value that we pass to that method. You'll learn more about this later, and for now it might be a little bit confusing, but later when we are creating complex methods with multiple arguments, you will see that what is actually the difference between parameter and argument. So for now, just know that here we are specifying that this method is going to accept some values. We can pass some values to this method. And the method, like class, is going to start with an opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace. So all methods or functions starts with a opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace. Next, we have something called super.onCreate. So super refers to the superclass. Again, this is related to the inheritance concept. For now, just ignore this line of code. Next, we have the set content view that is going to set the layout activity main as the main screen when we want to run the application. So this means that this activity or this class is going to control our activity underline main.xml file. So you should already be familiar with this concept. So because in this lecture our main focus is on Java, let's go ahead and log a value. So for example, inside this onCreate method, first let me tell you that onCreate method or function is just an Android lifecycle method. So this means that the onCreate method is going to be called when we run the application. So for example, if I run the app, here at the top you can see that if I run the app and then choose an emulator and click on OK, the first method that is going to be called is going to be the onCreate method. So this means that whatever code that we have inside the curly braces of this method is going to be called. So when you are, for example, seeing the layout activity underline main.xml with this hello world text view at the center, and here you can see that inside this onCreate we are calling the set content view and we are referring to the R class. We are getting the layout activity underline main and set it as the content view of the screen. So this onCreate method is going to be the first method that is going to be called, and it's going to go ahead and set the activity underline main as the content view of the screen. So that's why we can see that whatever we put inside the onCreate method is going to be called as soon as the app is run. So I will talk a lot about Android lifecycle methods, but for now, let's go ahead inside this onCreate method, and I'm going to type in here log. So I'm going to refer to the log class. As I'm typing here log, the Android autocomplete feature is going to help me to use the log class. And as you can see, it says that the log class is inside the android.util package. So if I choose the log from the Android autocomplete feature, it is going to automatically import the log class to my file. But if I do not use the Android autocomplete feature, I must manually add the log class to my file. So I cannot say dot. So you can see when I put dot, again, it is showing me the autocomplete feature to use one of these methods. So if I, for example, choose log.i here, now you can see that the log class is imported. So import android.util.log. But if I delete this piece of code here, now we have an error. So if I hover over this error area, I just need to click on this log. In order to solve it, I just need to hold down the Alt key on my keyboard and then press on Enter. So if you are using Mac, you need to hold down the Option key and then press on Enter. So now we have some options here. The second option says import class. So if I click on import class, it is going to import the log class at the top of the file. But we have also another options. So I just need to click on this log that is in red color, Alt, Enter. We have, for example, the create class log. So if you click on this option, it's going to go ahead and create a class inside your project with this name log. And for example, we have other options. But in this specific case, we are interested in importing the class log to our file so that we can use the methods of this class. So just click on import class. Now this class needs two arguments. Remember what I told you about parameters or arguments? Arguments are just real values that we pass to our method. So when I put two quotes here, the first argument is going to be the tag. The tag is going to be the value that we are going to use in order to filter our values in the logcat. So I'm going to type in here tag in capital letters, comma. The next value is going to be the value that we want to output to the logcat. So here, notice that we must pass a value of type string to this log.i. So we need to put two quotes. So in order to create a string value in Java, we put two quotes, and whatever value that we write here is called string. So whatever value that we have inside the two quotes is called a string value. And it is just a simple text. So for example, I can type in here, hi, Android developers. Now, at the end of each statement of your codes in Java, you must put a semicolon. A semicolon is like, for example, a period. So when you write a line of code, you must put a semicolon in order to specify that this statement is finished. So that's why we put the semicolon. If you don't put the semicolon, the compiler is just a piece of software that is going to look at your codes and compile it and see whether it has any errors or not. So when you delete the semicolon or you forget to put a semicolon at the end of your statement, the compiler is going to complain. And if you hover over this error area, it says a semicolon expected. So we need to put a semicolon here in order to solve the error so that the compiler would allow us to compile the project and run it. So this is our line of code. Now, if I go ahead and run the project, just choose one of these devices that you have here and then click on OK. Let me show you the emulator. So here we have the app with this hello world text at the center. Let's go back to Android Studio and then click on logcat. So here inside the search area, just type in here tag, the value tag in capital letters. So at the bottom, you can see that this hi Android developers text is outputted here. So now it's challenge time. Go ahead and output this hi Android developers text to the screen. So you already know how to do that. Good luck. So in the next video, we're gonna go ahead and learn about variables in Java. So I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial.